More of you here?
All right.
Give somebody at your table a high five and say, it's great you're here. Okay, so I'm doing a continuation of responsibilities of a cell leader. And if you are a cell leader or a potential cell leader, these are principles that translate into many different ways of living this out. So last time we talked about praying for your members, to get your members into eventually one-on-one discipleship, to pastor your people, and to monitor your group in the way of knowing what's happening and communicating with your group to get them to work and pastor one another. Okay, so it takes leadership, and one of the things that I've noticed in human tendency is there are a few people that just have natural tendencies or inclinations to do these things, but there are others that we just don't even think about it. And so the training is necessary to help us to incorporate these principles so that we become incredible, effective, godly cell leaders. Is that what we want?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the part two. Here's an important one of your cell group when you meet on your particular night, is you are architects of your culture in your group. Did you know that? The group reflects you. And so how you interact and engage and talk in your cell group is going to impact your cell group. And so we want to create an environment of love and joy and hope in our cell groups. And as you bring that into the cell group, they're going to eventually start catching it, and they're going to start living it out as well. The next thing that we do in the cell group is you are, in creating that culture, you are casting the vision of that cell group. That every week, you got to talk about something of the vision. That this is why we do what we do. This is why we worship, that when we worship, we're focused on God, and we're asking His Holy Spirit to come, and His presence to come, so that we can see what the Holy Spirit wants to do to minister to one another. That training and continual giving language to what's happening in the cell group, what it's eventually doing is you're training other people to eventually be able to lead as well, because they've heard it from you so much. So the next thing is you gotta spend time to get to know your people. And as you develop an understanding of their relationships or their character traits or personalities, you know that there's, in the beginning, because people are inevitably shy in the beginning, aren't they? That you have a few that will come in and boldly engage in conversation, and they'll right away be volunteering for things. Those are the ones you want to keep your eye on, because they could be emerging leaders. But there are others that are just inherently quiet and shy. And so if they're really shy, you don't ask them the first week, hey, next week, can you lead our sermon discussion? Because they probably won't come back. So know your people. There, on the other side, if you have someone that is too involved, that you can't shut them up. You ever have people like that? You just say, hey, can we have coffee this week? I want to get to know you better. And when you have coffee, you just start talking. You just kind of, hey, when we're meeting as a cell group, we really want to encourage involvement of everybody, especially during the discussion. So I would love if you can help me by being a little less verbal so that you can encourage other people to be able to share. Okay, so there's a gentle way of telling a person to shut up. what we have found in our group in particular is people just don't volunteer. Some of you have groups that everyone's seasoned and everyone's volunteering. So what we've done is we give personal invitations to them. We send them an email or a text or call them and say, hey, next week, would you mind doing the worship for us? And inevitably, unless they're busy, most of them will respond. As long as we're not asking like the shy person to lead the sermon discussion. So you got to know your people. Ask them personally. And there is that awkward silence when you say, okay, who wants to volunteer next week? And everyone's looking at each other. It kind of takes away that awkwardness for us. Okay. People also love to have feedback. And so, especially when someone's doing something for the first time, encouraging them, saying thank you for doing that. That was awesome. If someone is shy and they eventually do lead the sermon discussion, I would encourage you to talk with them before. Here's what I think about in leading the sermon discussion. And you're not preaching, you're not teaching, you're just helping the group by facilitating the discussion by asking the questions. You can even just use the questions on the bulletin, in the back of the bulletin. Talking to them like that, it alleviates the anxiety, and it also just gives them some structure of what to do when they volunteer. So, and then after they do that, come to them and say, man, that was great what you did. I really appreciate when you did this, was really good. And then you can say something like, and next time you may consider doing it this way. That will make it even better. That's, again, how you give good, constructive feedback to people to help them to grow. We had one couple that when it was their week for snacks, they backed their car in and got all the carts and loaded it with all this food and had to set up this spread of snacks on 2 tables. And I was saying, that's a snack? So I actually did talk to them, and I said, you know, I love the food that you bring, but when you bring that much food, it puts pressure on other people. Like, if I'm doing snacks, I gotta do that? And so I said, it would be much more benefit to the group and to you, so you don't kill yourself when it's your week to do the snacks. Just bring something small and simple. And they started doing that. So they're great for potlucks, though. So do you see how being sensitive and knowing your people and being able to lead in a way that you are being constructive in a positive way, and you're building people up, you're encouraging them, you're training them to become much more effective. And the next thing you want to do is you want to teach your people how to live missionally. And so a lifestyle of ministry is what I try to communicate. So it's not like the old, there was this thing called evangelism explosion, where you go through a training and people were trained to go and knock on doors, cold calling, and when they come in or answer the door, you say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and if you died tonight, do you know where you would go? And that kind of led them into discussion, and many people did get saved like that. But only the really good salespeople minded could do that. I never did it. Because the last thing I wanted to do was go and talk to someone and have them slam the door in my face. So what is I think a very powerful and effective way to help them to be missional is give them 3 simple principles. First is you pray. Because praise softens the hearts. Prayer softens the hearts of those people that you're trying to minister to. I have about 4 or 5 guys here in town that I have literally been praying for 12 years for them to give their hearts to Jesus. And I see them, I get together with them, I talk to them. They still haven't come to Jesus. But I'm not giving up. I'm contending for their faith and continue to pray for them and reaching out to them. So you pray for them. And then you build relationship with them. And so as you build relationship with them, you invite them to things that you're having. If you have a little gathering, a volleyball game, or you're doing a cornhole tournament at your house with a barbecue, invite these guys that you're praying for. I have a group of guys that I play golf with, that they don't know Jesus yet. And but I continue to pray for them, lay hands on them, and for God to heal them when they throw their backs out. There's just all these great ways that we get to encounter and engage with them. And then the last thing is celebrate together. And when someone comes to Christ, man, that is something your whole group should celebrate together. Throw a party for the man or the woman that comes to Christ. It's what Jesus said, that when one is lost, they leave the 99 to go find the one, and they bring it back and they throw a party. Look at the one that was lost has now been found. That is so important, to create that kind of a culture that we really do celebrate when someone comes to Christ. And then you want to create a sense of family in your group. And you have birthday parties together. You go to movies together. You do different things where you're gathering outside of the cell group meeting. And the cell group is where you come together to worship, to discuss the sermon, to laugh together. But there is something that happens in a deeper way when you get together outside of the cell group meeting. And just naturally do things that you like to do, that they like to do. Go camping together, go bowling together, watch CU beat Nebraska together. Hoorah! Okay, so you are the initiators. You are the ones that, again, are creating this kind of a culture in your cell groups. So I just hope that this stimulates you to think about ways to create more of this kind of environment in your cell group. So what I would encourage you to do now in your tables is just talk to each other and maybe give feedback to each other of ways that you can continue to deepen these principles in your leadership with your cell groups. Okay, and then pray for your people. It could be just one person that you're praying to be found, that they find Christ. Okay? So if you only have a couple people, you might want to move to get to another table. Like there's room here or back there. Get together with some people and share and pray. Hey, God bless you guys. Thanks for what you're doing. This is awesome.